guys, welcome back to Paranormal Resident. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about my experience in Leap Castle, one of Ireland's most haunted castle. I've been there loads of times, I've done some overnight investigations, but we're going to start at the very beginning. My first impressions of Leap Castle. Is it really the most haunted castle in Ireland? Some say the most haunted castle in Europe. I'm not sure. I asked you guys on Instagram if you wanted me to do a story about Leap Castle, and like one person said yes. Hey Lauren. So yeah, you can follow me over on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter if you like, all linked down below. So let's get into it. Okay, so let's start at the beginning about Leap Castle. So I always wanted to visit Leap Castle. I grew up in the Midlands of Ireland, so it was quite a bit away from me, and it wasn't until I moved to Tipperary that I actually visited Leap Castle. So I seen it on Most Haunted when I was younger. I used to be obsessed with Most Haunted. I think most of us were. It used to terrify me, that show. Like, I used to be like, oh, I don't even know what age I was. 14, 15 maybe younger. And I remember like watching the Leap Castle episode, and I was like, oh my god, it's so scary and it's so close to home, and like there's a ghost right there. But ghost hunting is not all that it seems when you're watching these shows. I got a big reality check when I started doing ghost hunting, which is a year ago next month. So yeah, Leap Castle is incredibly old, incredibly spooky. It's said to be incredibly haunted by an elemental. And there's said to be the priest who haunts it as well in the bloody chapel. There's loads of history on it, guys. I'm not going to get into the history in this video. We're just going to talk about the ghost stories. But if you want to, I linked a video down below about all the history in Leap Castle. You can go check that out first before you go and watch me. But yeah, so it wasn't until I moved to Tipperary about 7 years ago that I decided, okay, I'm going to ring, because I didn't know if you could just like go to the castle. So I looked it up on Google. I got Sean Ryan's, who owns the castle, phone number, and we decided, okay, I'll give him a ring. So I rang him and he was like, yeah, come, whatever. And I was like, oh, I didn't think it was going to be that easy. But we ended up going, me and my partner, and we just went to the castle. We drove down. I was so excited because all I wanted to do was go visit Leap Castle. It was like on my bucket list. I just wanted to see it in person. This was well before Paranormal Resident even began. So we got there, and I was just like, wow, this place is amazing. It's super creepy. I was like, there's such a vibe here. I was like, I love it. I fell in love the minute I drove down the driveway. So you're coming in these big gates. There's a little sign that says Leap Castle, just like in the middle of nowhere. So we drove down, we drove by the gatehouse, and you could kind of turn right, or is it left? Right. And you drive down a bit and you turn, and it's kind of like a big yard. With a big circular bit of grass in the front, and then you have the castle, and then there's like an abandoned bit of the castle this side, and the rest of the castle is intact. So I was like, oh my god, I'm so excited. So I seen some other tourists there outside the door, so I was waiting for them to get inside, so I could not be like baiting on the door and going like, let me in. So the door finally opened, and I think it was Sean's wife, Anne, who answered the door. I don't think Sean was around. And so we finally got out of the car and we started walking towards it. And I was like, oh, I'm starting to feel a bit weird. I don't know if it was because, you know, you hear all the stories about Leap Castle and it's a bit scary. I didn't know if that was it or what the crack was. But I think there was something affecting me, but we'll find it out later on in the story. So we got in, we go through these two doors, and there were like double doors, and then there's a glass set of doors as you're walking through. So we finally got into the Great Hall, and Anne told us all to sit around at this table. So the entrance hall is just this big, like really tall room. There's a massive fireplace with a big stove in it. There's all these long tables, and then like the staircase is over here, but it's kind of hidden. You can't really see it. So as you walk in the door, there's another staircase, which is a spiral staircase up to the bloody chapel and the banquet hall. So I didn't really know, like, oh, where do we go? Like, I was like, where is the bloody chapel? Because I just wanted to boot it up to the most haunted part of the castle. So we all sat down and told us about the history, about what happened there, how old the place is. It was destroyed by the IRA, how Sean built it from like nothing. There was just like a shell basically. So Sean and Anne actually live in the castle. That is their home. I don't know how to live there. but that's their home. They live in a separate part, so the public aren't allowed into their part of the castle, which is a newer built part. It's not like new built, it's really, really old, but it's not as old as the main tower that you see in the middle is actually the main castle that has all the hauntings, blah, blah, blah. So they live in a separate part where the kitchen and their bedrooms or whatever is. So we weren't allowed in there, but like you go down to the toilet. There was like a little corridor off the main hall, and you go down to the toilet, and there was like a little dungeon thing at the bottom, so there were steps leading into this little small room. There's nothing in the room. I'll pop up pictures on them talking about it, guys. So I went to the toilet after, like, you know, doing the history and stuff like that, mostly because I didn't really need to go to the toilet, but I just wanted to snip around. So I went down to the toilet, and I was looking, and I was like, oh my god, like, there's amazing artwork all over the walls. They have like people, I think, gifted them artwork, and they have all these little cool little knickknacks. It's like really, 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 really authentic, awesome haunted castle. So I was looking at the wall. I was taking way too long to walk down to the bathroom, and then I came across this little I don't know, it was like a little piece of paper in a clear baggy thing, and it was stuck to the wall, and there's a little stone inside. So I was like, what's this all about? I was like, I don't know. So I was like, what is this all about? So I started reading the thing, and somebody who visited the castle previous took a stone from I think it was from the bloody chapel, but they've had horrible luck ever since. So this is one of the things about Lep Castle is that it's said to be bad luck if you take anything from it, if you disturb anything in it, if you cause trouble in it. So this tourist obviously took a stone from the bloody chapel, brought it home, and had her horrible bad luck. So he sent a stone back to Sean, and Sean, he wrote a little letter saying, dear Sean, like, we're so sorry we took this from the castle, you know, can you put it back where we found it? Told him where he found it, and Sean put the stone back. At this time he didn't. The stone was still in the little baggy thing, but now it's not. I don't know where it's gone. And we were like, oh my god, so creepy. So then, like, immediately you're like, there's evidence on the wall that there's something wrong with this place, and that's bad luck. So I was like, okay. So the tourists were already upstairs. They were like booting it up and down, so they went really quickly. They just went up to the banquet hall and the bloody chapel, and that was it. Like, we were heading up the stairs, and they were coming down. So I was like, cool, I had the place to myself. So we were all fizzing. We were just chatting to Anne about random things, where we're from, because we live close by the castle and stuff like that. So we decided, okay, we'll head upstairs, because I was like, come on, we'll go upstairs. So we went up. There's the doorway beside the main entrance, and there's steps and a little curtain. But I didn't know there was a curtain there at the time. So already I'm like a bit freaked out, because I read this little thing on the wall, and I was feeling a bit like sick, and I was feeling a bit like overwhelmed by it all. I don't know what it was. And I started walking up, and I didn't notice that there was a curtain kind of draping down like this, and I hit my head off it, and I let a scream out of me. I was so embarrassed. I was like, I'm okay, it's only the curtain. So I kept walking, and you come to the spiral staircase. Like, these spiral staircases are amazing. Literally, they're held in, like, if one is like a millimeter out of place, the whole thing will collapse. It's incredible they lasted all these years. Like 600 years or so. And so we met it up, and not too far up, like walking up the spiral staircase, just stone walls, and then we came to this little door, and like, this is the banquet hall. I know it's the banquet hall. So we went into the banquet hall. There's a big long table. I was still getting this freaky feeling, but the banquet hall was famous in like Most Haunted and stuff like that. They didn't really show much of the bloody chapel, but it was famous in Most Haunted. So I was like, this is awesome. So the elemental would have been up in the gallery, which is in the banquet hall. So I went in. I was still feeling a bit like uneasy about myself, but I was just too busy looking around and kind of like, I can't believe I'm actually standing in the banquet hall in that castle. I never thought I would. So we went in. There's a big long table in the middle. I come to learn that, you know, paranormal investigators sit around that table and do experiments and things like that. There's like drawings on the wall. There's a mirror, a big, like, what you call it? A big unit. It's really old with a mirror. There's a harp, and there's like little stairs going down into this little alcove. There's a fireplace. There's 2 windows each side. So I'll pop up a picture and I'll show you what it looked like. And I was looking up at the gallery and I was like, oh my God, that's like in Most Haunted. That's where, you know, the scene, the elemental. So I was just like there and I was like, oh my God, I want to call out. I was getting really like into it because this was before I was like paranormal investigating. So I felt kind of stupid calling out and I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I was like, okay, the person I was with, I was like, I should take pictures because I'm feeling like dizzy and shit. So I was like calling out and I was like, okay, if there's anybody here, and I was being really quiet in case like the people downstairs heard me and I didn't want to make sure of myself. So I was like, if there's anybody here, can you maybe come and say hello? My name's Kieran, I'm here with so-and-so. And all of a sudden I heard, I was like, what the fuck was that? I was like, did you do that? What was that? Was that people downstairs? But it was in the room. It was like someone clapped in my ear. So after that, I still felt sick and sick. I just felt like I wasn't supposed to be here. I felt like you're not welcome. Get out. This is our home. Do you know, like if you walked into a stranger's house, just random house on the street, and you walked in, people were looking like, wow, what are you doing here? It's kind of like that feeling, like get the hell out of my house. So we ended up. So I was like, I wasn't leaving until I was seeing the Bloody Chapel. The Bloody Chapel's famous in Ireland. Like it's. People still claim to see lights coming from the Bloody Chapel. We're going to the Bloody Chapel. So we started to walk upstairs, and these stairs, guys, oh my God, they're the hardest stairs to walk up. So old castles have what they're called trick stairs. So if invaders came to the castle, they wouldn't know the layout of the stairs. Some steps are higher than the other. Only the people who live there would know. So if they were running up the stairs, they would fall. So they're not each even step. So you have to be careful what you're doing. And like there's no like handrail or shit, so like if you fall you're dead. So we were walking up the stairs and then we came to the gallery door. So the gallery door is just above the thing, so I went in. I just peeked my head in because I was feeling very uneasy about the gallery. So all there is a bed in there and like a balcony that looks down into the actual hall itself, like the banqueting hall. So we continued up and then we came to this little room that I had no idea that was going to be there. Like from all the TV shows I watched and stuff, I didn't know what was there. So it turns out it was the priest's bedroom. And you go in, there's 2 little chairs and there's a little like hole thing in the wall, and it was like a chimney thing. And that was the priest's bedroom. So Thaddeus or Tig, there was a murder in the chapel. The 2 brothers had a fight during mass. One of them was stabbed. He lay dead on the altar in front of his whole family. He said to haunt the castle. So I was like, bitch. So we walked up to the last door in the thing. It just comes to a dead end spiral staircase and then there's a door. And we walked in and we walked into the Bloody Chapel. Completely different atmosphere to the rest of the castle. It's like literally open to the elements. So as you walk in, there's no glass in the windows. You could literally easily fall out the window and like fall to your death. Well, it's not that high, but like it's high. It's 3-4 floors up. I think it's like 4 if you count. I don't really know. Technically 3 maybe, but like could be 4. And we were up there. It was freezing cold. We were just looking around, and all of a sudden, the person I was with was like, "I'm just after catching something on the camera." I was like, bullshit. You know, I wasn't taking it like ghost hunting. I was just like, take pictures because, you know, I want to put them on Facebook and be like, I went to Leap Castle, and I wanted to show my brother because he always wanted to go to Leap Castle as well. So he took the picture and he took the shots as in you hold down on the phone and it takes multiple shots. So I was looking at the pictures and it was like some type of shadow was going across the back of the chapel. So as you walk into the chapel, you're just greeted with a stone floor. It has gravel all over it. 2 big windows. Well, there's 4 windows. One of them's blocked up, kind of. There's stuff in it, and there's 2 windows each side. Again, I'll put up a picture. And the wind was blowing through and the roof was shaking, and the roof is like a galvanized roof. It's not like a proper roof. It was just put on by Sean just to kind of stabilize the whole place. And then I walked over and I finally seen the oubliette, which I wanted to see. So in the oubliette, that is French for to be forgotten. It was a hole in castles with like wooden spikes at the bottom, and they would have thrown down their prisoners down there and they would have fell on their spikes. If they weren't lucky, they wouldn't have died immediately, so they would have just had to sit in the oubliette listening to the parties going on. And it wouldn't have been a chapel at the time. It would have been where celebrations were and things like that. and where they would have held mass, but a lot of their events would have happened on the top floor. And they would have had to listen to them feast and stuff while they were down there starving. Like, the spikes could have went through their leg and they just left there to die. There was 3 cartloads of bones found in the early 1900s. That's 150 bodies were found in the oubliette. Again, check out the history down below. So that was all fine and dandy. We started to head down the stairs and I was still feeling a bit sick. And then I got outside, I was just chatting to Anne, blah, 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 like, oh my god, I love the place, it's amazing and stuff like that. And then I was like, oh, I don't want to go. It's like, I don't want to go. There's something about this place that captures you. Leap Castle, like, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's not the most stunning example of a castle by any means, but there's something about it that makes you feel like you need to go back. So, that was fine, whatever, and we left, and I was like, oh my god, that was so cool, I loved it, kind of forgetting that I was feeling sick or whatever. So it came up the opportunity that, this was before Paranormal Resident again, I was like, I really want to go ghost hunting, I'd love to, like, see, and it just randomly popped up my page, this ghost hunting group were going to Leap Castle, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll check them out. And I messaged them in. It ended up that the date was going to be on my birthday, the 31st of August. So they said, okay, come along since it's your birthday, blah, blah, blah. So it was an overnight investigation. You know, I brought a sleeping bag, brought snacks, you know, didn't really know what to expect, was nervous because I'm not a very social kind of person. And I remember feeling sick the last time I was there. So I finally got there, walked into a room full of people, and I'm like, like Scarlet, but they were chanting me and stuff like that. I kind of felt a bit more easier, and then we were like split up into groups and things like that. But throughout the night, not much was happening activity-wise. One of my friends, Jade, who I later became friends with, this is the first time I ever met her, she got touched on the stairs by something that felt like a child. So there's said to be a child that haunts the castle. Sean's daughter, when she was younger, was communicating with this child, blah, blah, blah. And then we got up to the banqueting hall and we started doing the glass divination. So you have the glass, the table, and you have yes and no either side. So that was working and the glass was moving. And of course, like, you know, you don't know if it's the people moving the glass or if it's, you know, but I was pretty sure it wasn't. And it started to get more menacing, like a man was coming through. First it was like a little girl coming through, you know, messing around with the glass and stuff like that. And then it started to feel a bit more like something's not right here. So then my stomach started to turn. And like I didn't eat anything different. I wasn't like, you know, incredibly like, it was just very unusual, the feeling. It wasn't a feeling of being sick, and it wasn't a feeling of being like you're going to throw up or you need to go to the toilet or something like that. So I started standing there, I was like, oh, what is that? And I kept going, oh, like, and I was trying not to make too much of a fuss, because, you know, I'm shy, I didn't want to make too much of a fuss. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to go down to the toilet, I need a break, I need to step out of the atmosphere, maybe it's just the atmosphere. So I went down and I was walking down the stairs and I came into the hall. There was no one in the hall because they were all upstairs investigating. I was the only one in the hall and I started to go real pale. I went to the bathroom and like I was really, really pale. And I was like wavy and I was just feeling like I was going to puke and poop everywhere. You know, like that feeling in your gut, like we all get it when we have like an illness or a bug. I was like, no, this is not right, this is not right, like I can't stay here. Like it was like only 12 o'clock. The investigation started at 9, so I did last like a few hours. And I was like, I'm here till like 8 o'clock in the morning, there's one bathroom and there's loads of people here. I can't, like, what's wrong with me? And I was like, oh, maybe it's just nerves or something. But then I remembered, like, I think it was a year. It would have been like a year before that I visited. It was a year before. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to sit down here. And then the group were getting concerned. They're like, are you okay? Like, what's going on? And it turned out that the gates were closed, so I couldn't go. I was like, listen, guys, I need to go. I'm really not well. I think I need to go to the hospital. There's something, I've never felt like this before in my life. And then one of the guys there, Jonathan from Enlightened Shadowhunters, who now I like go investigating with, he came over and he was like, "Do you want some sage, to get rid of bad energy?" And I was like, "No, this needs more than the sage." I was convinced that I got a bug, that some bitch ass came with a bug, and I picked up the bug and it hit me immediately. All these things are going through my head. So I ended up, we had to go down to the gate, and the gate was locked. We couldn't find Sean anywhere. Sean does musical stuff. He's a musician, so he would have been away or whatever, and we were trying to look for the owner, and couldn't find anyone. Weren't sure if they're in the gatehouse or not. So I was like, "Listen, I can get my lift. A lift will come for me. My car is not locked in, so somebody can come for me." So we were looking in the ditches and stuff like that, and I was like all over this, and I just kept saying sorry, like, I don't mean to interrupt the whole investigation. I was so embarrassed, like, even the next day. Like, they were so nice that they came back and they were like, "Oh, were you okay?" and stuff like that. I was like, "Yeah, I was fine." And then that's how me and Jade became friends along the line. And finally I got out through a little gap in like the wall area. I had to climb on some wood. Somebody helped me find this area, and I got out. So I was walking around for a good 20 minutes waiting for the car to come. I just wanted out. I just needed to get out of here. So I got out, and my lift finally came. I was like, "Oh my god, thank god I get to go home. I'm actually going to like die." So we were driving away, and I was like, "Right, something's not right. I need to go to the doctor. I need help." So I went to A&E. It turns out I was fine. I started like even feeling better in there, and then it was close to like, it was really like early morning time, and I was in bed, and I was like, I feel absolutely fine. Like, what the hell just happened in Lep Castle? Why? Like, it makes no sense to me. So, being me and being dumb, there was another event coming up in Lep Castle, and I said, I'm going to go back and face my fears. This is something I really wanted to do, so I was like, I'm going to do it. I wanted to be a paranormal investigator. I wanted to get experience. I wanted to see what it was all about. So I decided to go back, and we went back to Lep Castle, and this time I was totally fine. I think it was about November, end of October, November. And I was totally fine, buzzing. I went home, I think, about 4:30, just because I didn't want to sleep there, because it was like freezing, and I was wrecked. And that night, a girl became really, really sick. I was like, "Bitch, I know how you feel." Like, she was like walking around, she was really sick, she was in the toilet for ages, and I was like, "Oh my god, this poor girl has the exact same thing I had." So I went up to her. With Jade, we were starting to chat by then. We were like good friends, and this is how I met most of my friends now. From ghost hunting. It's a very social thing. You should do it. Try it. So we were chatting, and I was like, "This is the exact same thing happened." She was describing the exact same thing. I was like, "This happened to me." But the worst thing was, her friends wouldn't leave. They were like, "Well, we paid our money to ghost hunt. We're not leaving now." And she was like, "I need to leave." So she ended up just sitting by the fire for the rest of the night. I felt so bad for her. I was like, "This is ridiculous. Like, your friends should be like helping you out here." I think like her boyfriend was there or something like that. I was like, "Why aren't you helping? Like, help the girl." So she had to stay there, and she didn't recover for the whole night. I mean, the sickness overwhelmed her. So more research I was doing, I found out that in the castle, that the O'Carrolls who owned the castle, they they were a clan like the Irish kings and queens and blah blah blah, mostly Irish high kings. And they were a ferocious clan who owned this castle. Like, I mean, bloodthirsty, I mean evil, I mean horrendous, horrible. And eventually they wanted to be taught in modern warfare for the time, so they got the McMahon clan to teach them about warfare. And, there would be a fee, there was no beef at the moment between these two clans, but eventually there would be. And so they taught them about warfare, and then they were like, "Oh great," after a defeat from a rival clan, they invited them all over to the castle. They're going to receive their payment, blah blah blah, they're going to have a feast. So what the O'Carrolls did, instead of paying them and getting rid of a clan, they poisoned all 30 of them. So to this day, I often wonder you know, I wasn't, me and this girl were not the only people who got sick in Lap Castle. There was numerous times that people have got sick in Lap Castle, and you know, I was thinking, were we feeling the effects of poison? Because this was not a sickness that I ever felt before, and it was the one thing that got me really intrigued in the paranormal. I was like, they can affect you to a point where you need to leave. Like, I've heard all these stories of people like, oh, I had to leave the location, I had to go home, I was too scared, blah, 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 blah. But this was physically, I had to leave. Like, I would have never left just because, you know, it was the most, I could feel it, like, it was the weirdest, it's so hard to explain. So, you know, it got me really intrigued, and I ended up going back for more and more and more, and I ended up, like, oh god, maybe 3 more times. I'm going again soon. So I was just back from one the 18th of January. So, you know, I've been there recently as well. I haven't got sick since that first time. Every time I go, I get nervous that I'm going to get sick, because I am about going to get sick in front of people. So, you know, I'm going to leave the rest for another video, but this is just about my first experience with Lep Castle, and my first kind of paranormal experience, which I know you could, like, put down to just being sick, but this girl got it as well. Other people have got it. Like, I was talking to other investigators, like, every time we come here, someone gets sick. So, you know, I'm not sure what it was. Did I feel the effects of the poison? Did the O'Carrolls not want me in their castle? It just really intrigued me. My interest in the paranormal spiked, because before I thought it was just all entertainment value and all that stuff happens. One thing about ghost hunting, like, guys, it's not what you see on telly whatsoever. It's literally sitting in a dark room in the freezing cold, talking to your tin air. That is basically it for hours and hours on end, and then something might happen, but it's not something that will, I think, since you've been waiting for such a long time, something small can be something huge because you were waiting for it, the anticipation, and it can really scare you and make you jump. But, you know, I honestly have been plenty of times, and there's been nights where nothing has happened. Maybe we get a tap or a bang. Always tapping and bangs, but you know, that could be an old building with the coal settling all the different floors. It was like the whole castle was handmade. Not everything's even, you know, one footstep could cause a noise somewhere else, blah, blah, blah. But I've had some experiences there that I will save till the next video, and if you want more, let me know, comment down below if you want to hear more about my experiences. I have videos on Lep Castle, overnight in Lep Castle. You can check them all out on my channel, and I will be going back next month. But yeah, guys, that's my first experience in Lep Castle, and how I got sick, and how I got you know, really embarrassed and I had to leave. And yeah, Lep is a phenomenon, and Lep is, it's something else. I wouldn't say it's the most active place in the world, but there's something about Lep Castle that, there's something there. Go visit it if you ever come to Ireland. Any of my Americans watching, if you haven't visited yet, you have to visit it. I hope to hold events there soon, so I'll let you all know that on Instagram. Go follow me. And yeah, guys, so that's my video about my first experience at Lep Castle, and my second experience, and how I got sick. And I'm gonna go now. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all down below. Follow me on Instagram, that's where I post the most. I rant a bit on Twitter and Facebook. I post some little videos as well. So yeah, on Instagram I do some funny stories. I show you guys all the locations I go to, and this week I'm going to some cool locations, so make sure you check that out. But yeah, if you want more videos like this, make sure to give this a like, so I know. Try get this video to realistic 20 likes, and we'll see if I do another one. So okay guys, until next time, goodbye. I need to do something with that eyebrow. Just put there. No, stop. still ugly. Oh, I'm taking a video. I was trying to do one of my thumbnail faces. Oh, that's kind of good.